And we are live.
This is Literary Roadhouse. I'm Rami.
That's not it. That's not our intro.
Because he never gets to say
I want my gong. I want my gong. Gong.
wrong.
Wrong.
With the win comes great responsibility.
That was good, Annie.
Wait, what?
That was good.
One short story once a
Literary
week.
Roadhouse. One short story once a week.
I bet. Alright, take two. Ready? This is Literary Roadhouse. One short story, once a week. I'm Rami.
I'm Anais.
I'm Gerald.
And I'm Maya. Before we get started.
We had just talked about that.
Going
Talked about it. I'm so used to it. I'm just so
I know.
used to it. It's just like automatic.
Yeah, for people who watch the YouTube, the unedited one, clearly we can't handle the slightest bit of change.
You know what's funny? Today I was like, we've been doing really good live. I'm just going to go ahead and do live broadcast. So everybody is watching this right now. No pressure. Okay, let's start from the top.
Okay. I gotta
Done?
laugh less. No.
No. You can do it. Yeah, because we slurred and just start over.
All right.
in the zone.
This is Literary Roadhouse. One short story, once a week. I'm Rami.
I'm Anais.
I'm Gerald.
And I'm Maya.
And before we begin, I have an announcement. Literary Roadhouse will be launching a second podcast, the Literary Roadhouse Book Club. The book club will meet monthly to discuss full-length novels. The first episode will be released January 1st, 2016. Our first novel is Margaret Atwood's new book, The Heart Goes Last. So go get your hands on a copy and read it in time for January.
I am so excited. Like, I have the book on my Kindle. I'm not looking at it. And I'm like, what am I going to read while I'm waiting to be able to read this book? And you know what I'm going to read? I'm going to read Gerald's new collection of short stories. Woo!
Don't do
Gerald, I found out about your collection on accident.
that. You weren't supposed
Bad,
to.
Gerald. Tell us a little bit about your collection. What is the name of your collection?
It's crikey, so long. It's Bleak Midwinter Tales, and it's a collection of very short stories / fiction that I wrote a few years ago, and it's dark. A lot of it's dark.
Ooh, I knew I liked you. See, we're right there. You're my people, man. You're my people. So if you are interested in reading Gerald's short stories, head on over to literaryroadhouse.com. I put up an Amazon bookstore, and his book is in the bookstore. Congratulations, Gerald.
Thank you very much.
And now that I
Are
got
we
that
allowed
out of the way,
Are we allowed to discuss our own short stories? Or is
that would be kind of rude. Hi, Gerald. You know, this short story over here.
It sucks.
You know, this other one's great, but this one, nah.
What the hell were you thinking?
I can't wait to
It's
read
more
it, though.
empathy.
Before we get started, I
Listen,
do.
read this round.
Before we get started, I do need to do the language warning real quick because sometimes we have potty mouth. I don't foresee it with this story, but we get creative. So just in case, check the iTunes, check the website. We'll let you know if it's explicit. Now, Rami, you can finish what you were saying.
No, I was gonna say it would make us more empathetic, because
Or it could just sound like a bunch of self-grandizing right ear pushers. Personally, I'm not going to submit my work to the podcast. I feel like it would be too much self-promotion, personally.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Rami,
Okay.
what did we read this week and why?
Alright, so we read a story called The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant, and it talks about a couple of where they have a pretty average lifestyle, but the wife feels a sense of entitlement and longs for a more opulent sort of lifestyle. She's obsessed with like status symbols and sort of social hierarchy. And one day her husband gets an invitation to attend a gala from the minister that he's working for. But instead of being excited, the wife is stressing out because she doesn't know what she's gonna wear to this thing. So of course the husband loves her, so he gives her some money he was saving up to get a nice dress. But then of course she needs jewelry that she can't afford, so she borrows what she thinks is very expensive diamond necklace from one of her more wealthy acquaintances. But and they start freaking out. They don't know what to do, but instead of letting her know, they basically take on tons of debt and sell most of all of their possessions, and she works for 10 years in menial jobs, both her and her husband, to try to pay off this debt. And through a chance encounter, she comes across the friend again, after of course she bought the new diamond necklace and replaced it. And she tells her about everything that she went through, and then the friend reveals that the necklace that she let her borrow was just a fake, and it wasn't worth very much money at all. Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. Gerald, Remy, can you turn down either turn off the camera portion or just turn down your bandwidth? Because your voice is cutting in and out. We're fine for the recording, but for people that are listening to us live,
Why would they do that?
Okay, so, well, we kind of know, like, your moral judgment.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Entitlement. You can't even keep it out of the summary, Remy.
What?
That was funny. I just about busted up laughing. So what did everybody think of this story? Just top level, did you like it? Did you not like it?
I enjoyed it.
How about you, Anais?
Very concise, Gerald. I enjoyed it too. I think for me this story is some of the other stories we've read from like the 1800s or older seem to have the same issue, where it's like this is the grandfather of the stories that we love now, that we feel now are better, but probably wouldn't have existed without this influence. So I read this and I'm like, oh, how quaint and cute and done, except, yeah, but he was one of the forefathers of it, and I need to keep that in mind as I discuss it.
Nope.
No.
We guessed that when you said, what do we read and why?
Yeah.
Just, I just felt like a Geraldism just was appropriate. Nope, didn't really care for it. I read it. I don't know if it was the translation. Just didn't really enjoy it. How about you, Remy?
Yeah, I think, again, as Anais said, putting it in context makes it better than maybe we would see it nowadays.
So why don't we start with what you guys liked about the story?
I liked some of the language. I loved, especially in the early stages. I think the early stages was when you start to read it, and it's one of those where there's it's very fulsome, and normally long sentences irritate the hell out of me, but these were okay, and I counted the words, 89 words in one sentence. That's a good old sentence. I like that. So yeah, the ending was a bit sort of sort of there you go. But yeah, and it's you women. This is what you're like, isn't it? So shallow.
You work and toil for us, and you get no thanks.
And all you want is fancy dresses and necklaces and stuff like that. So yeah.
It's funny you say that, because one thing that right from the beginning I was like, this main character, the wife, Matilda, I was like, she did not age well through the centuries, in the sense that she is no longer sympathetic, because I feel like the way that it's written, you're supposed to be like, oh, that was foolhardy, that was silly, but there is sort of like a genuine sympathy in the tone for her that I'm like, I feel like 21st century people, like when she's at the ball and she's feeling so great and so special, there you can be like, oh yeah, that is a nice feeling, but then it's like her feminine victory, like this is the only thing that she lived for, and it's like, like I feel like
it's very
narration, the narration was genuine, in describing this without too much judgment that nowadays you read it and you kind of recoil.
Well, the way I read it, I kind of took like the gender aside and sort of saw it as a larger commentary about like materialistic society, and that's why I thought it's still kind of relevant today about how people just, just overemphasize these consumerist and materialistic possessions.
As I was reading it, I couldn't separate it from its time, and I think that's part of I think if I had been able to take the themes and make them more modern, I probably would have enjoyed it more. I think for me personally, it's hard for me to enjoy parables. Like, they've got to be really, really good, and I felt like this was a little bit more of a parable than a short story, but I couldn't separate this from like the cult of the woman. Like, what is the ideal woman back then? She's hardworking. She doesn't ask for anything. She has a gazillion kids. She does everything to sacrifice for God. She doesn't have any wants. She doesn't have any desires. She doesn't have any aspirations because she's moral and good. And that whole like Victorian thing irks the living daylights out of me. And so as I was reading it, her greed and her foolhardiness, like, I understood it, because back then, what else was there for her to do? She wasn't going to have a job, and it doesn't sound like they have any kids. So she's sitting at home all day while her husband's at work with literally nothing to do, and she's dreaming of a better life. And so I'm not going to fault her for that, because there wasn't a better life for her in the time period that this story was written. The stupidity exhibited by both parties, and the fact that it is solely laid at her feet. The husband never once says, "We need to go talk to your friend." The husband says, "Write her a letter," doesn't push, gives up everything without verifying the jewelry. I'm not willing to sit here and say, "Oh, well, the woman. He was a freaking idiot, too." And that irritated me. The fact that it was like all laid at her feet irritated me. But outside of that, you know me, I'm not going to fault a story just for irritating me. I like characters that I don't like. I'm good for that. I felt like the story probably was better in French. I read 2 translations of it, and I had issues with both translations, and I could not get out of the I'm reading a translation trying to figure out the story feeling. I never once fully engaged with the story. I was too distant the entire time.
Yeah, I think it's a very simplistic story. It's well told, but it's very simplistic. It's very obvious. It's like something a 12 or 13-year-old kid might write. It's without the fancy words, of course. It's just and I didn't like the ending. It's just but hey, guess what?
It was probably all the rage back then. Like, now we talk about flash fiction. Oh, you got to have the twist ending. Like, this was probably like one of the original twist endings.
Yeah, but it's such an obvious one.
Yeah, I did some research, and apparently Guy de Maupassant is known for twist endings. Like, that's his thing. But I think it's interesting you said that you feel like I don't know, I forget what the word, like the story didn't age well, the parable didn't age well, but I think the theme in the parables did age well. It's the characters that don't. It's the characters that feel alien to us because culture has changed so much. But just the story we described last week, the Semplica Girl Diaries, has that whole keeping up with the Joneses, wanting more that you can afford. It's just the motives were different. So it felt like something we could empathize with because it's motives that we could recognize in ourselves, whereas this one's like the nuance there is like, oh, you just want footmen? I don't, it's just, I think that's where the story falls short. It's just these characters are now so old that we're just like.
See, for me, I got the want. I put it in context of her just not having other options and feeling unfulfilled in her life. For me, it was like, many of the great novels of that era where they're talking about women that are unsatisfied and trying to find a way. And so I had no problem with that. I just didn't enjoy the read, I guess. You're right, the characters do not age well, but I read a lot of old fiction that doesn't age well and enjoy it. So for me, I can't lay it on that. I can't say, well, it just it's too old a story. I can't say that because I read a lot of old shit and enjoy it. Did you enjoy that, Gerald?
I did enjoy that. I'm writing that one down too.
Is your next book gonna be Maya-isms?
I just gotta quote them, at the start of every chapter. I think that would be good. We're getting off topic here. Sorry.
Okay, so you guys seem to enjoy the theme. Did you feel like there was just one theme? Do you feel like there's multiple themes?
No, I think it was. I don't know unless I missed it, but to be honest, I only read it through once because I didn't feel like I wanted to read it again. I think the ending spoilt it for me, and I think the theme of wanting things that are really above your station is sort of it hits you over the head with this, and it was okay, and I think the theme translates to modern day, and we see it now all the time. People who are prepared to sacrifice what some might consider sort of the essentials of life and the important things of life for fripperies and new flat screen TVs and stuff like that. But so and that sort of endures over the centuries even. But it was an enjoyable little story. It didn't take up too much time, and I just thought, yeah, okay, that's all right.
How about you, Rami?
Yeah, I like it because I feel like it is a story I could tell my unborn children in the future if I am lucky enough to procreate and have offspring.
Why would you tell it to your unborn child, though? I don't understand that.
No, I mean as
It says procreate.
I know what you mean. I just.
I think Ravi kind of hit the nail on the head. I also only read it once, and it wasn't. The ending didn't upset me. It got a grin out of me. I'll admit it. I was like, oh, but like I enjoy the little boom. Okay, whatever. But I think the reason why I didn't read it over again is because of what Ravi was talking about. He wants to read it to his future hypothetical children. That's kind of it. Like I felt like, what more am I gonna get out of it? Like it feels like I'm not the target audience, the target audience for it feels younger, even though I don't think that's the case. But just that's, you know what I mean? It just felt a little bit like I was reading a grade school parable.
We've done a parable once before. I can't remember. Did you like that parable or did you have issues with it?
It was also my story. Look at that. Maybe I have a thing for these.
Oh, yeah, it was also. Yeah, you have a parable thing. Okay. We'll keep an eye on you.
Yeah.
The other terrible story was the quote-unquote Paulo Coelho retelling of the Chinese.
Oh, yeah, the other one we didn't like.
No, you liked that one. You liked that one. Let's pull up the recording, Anais.
Roll the tape.
Yeah, don't act like those Republican presidential candidates.
Although, I will say with these short stories, the other one we read from the 19th century that had the over-the-top message, like, do you get it? Do you get the message yet? Was The Nose, the Nikolai Gogol one. Except that one he did with humor. This one was, like, completely humorless. There was so many opportunities for jokes that weren't taken that I feel like if he would have done that, it could have maybe elevated the commentary.
That's interesting you said that, because I'm thinking back to a couple fairly recent books that I've read that I really enjoyed from this time period, and both of them were satire. I feel like satire in the 1800s was amazing. It was like the height of its game, and the humor really translated to modern day really well. That's interesting. Now I got to think about that. Maybe I just don't like serious from that. Yeah. I want to know why I didn't like this story. It seems like everybody else got more out of it than I did.
I think another point. Yeah, I think I don't know if we got more out of it. I think we just sort of we accepted it for what it was, and it was a light-hearted. I think Annie hit the nail on the head when she said that she wasn't the target audience, and I think you can imagine telling this to small children in the hope that they get it, understand the child.
I feel like there's so many other more amazing stories to tell to small children than this.
Yeah. So yeah, it's. I don't think we can talk too long about it because there's not that much of it to talk about.
Which is interesting you say that, because actually it's longer than you think. I put it into Word. It's almost 3,000 words.
Mm.
It does not feel like a 3,000 word story. Originally, I thought maybe it was flash fiction. That's why I put it in there. I was like, was this flash fiction? It has the twist ending. It felt really short. It had a really simplistic plot. I could have sworn it was under 1,000 words because it went so fast. But it's like 2,900 words.
And this is discussed in universities and stuff. Like, this is part of like curriculums. And I feel like there must be something I'm missing.
The story.
Yeah, to analyze the story, but I just feel like there's so many more stories that you could analyze and get more out of playing on these same themes,
See, I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like if everybody loves this story, if scholars have spent years translating, interpreting, writing dissertations on this story, how come I read and I'm like, that's all there is?
I wonder if what's being passed down isn't the story, but the analysis itself. Like, I wonder if, like, when professors building their curriculum, they were like, oh, I remember discussing the hell out of this story when I was a student, and that was because it was really about the teacher's interpretation, and that's what's, like, enduring.
Yeah, or maybe they're teaching it from a moral or even like the history of the twist ending.
Yeah.
No, I think it'd be interesting to read some of this
commentary on society today as well, perhaps.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many other stories.
Girl Diaries.
Yeah.
Same theme, way more interesting.
No,
yeah, but this one will probably upset fewer parents.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
people
okay,
always hold like what's older in higher regard.
Yeah, I was going to say something like that. That I think, I mean, I always after I've done my sort of internal analysis of it, I always go and see what other people, just in case I as often do, I've missed anything, and I don't think we did. I don't think there is any subtleties, no subplots, no hidden messages, no themes. It's just, don't chase after stuff that you shouldn't really.
Well,
be
there are a
having.
couple of themes too. Well, another one though is taking responsibility for your actions and ownership and being upfront. Had they come clean from the beginning, they wouldn't have gotten themselves in that whole situation.
You're defending this story, aren't you, Remy?
No. I'm just saying it's not.
He likes parables.
No,
Yeah.
I suggested it, so I feel some sort of responsibility for making.
Oh, really? You don't tear apart your own suggestions? Oh, yeah. I'll totally suggest a story and just be like, yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah,
that story sucked. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't pan it. Like, if I hated it, I wouldn't have suggested it in the first place. But I'm not gonna always give it like across the board perfect ratings either.
Well, okay.
Yes, I don't even read the stories I suggest, so I can't.
Yeah, I don't read it either.
I'm just like, I have no idea if I'm going to like it either.
All I do is scroll down to make sure it's the full story and not like a click here to buy the rest of it. That's it.
And sometimes I might check to make sure we haven't read it before. If it's like a story, I'm like, have I read this before?
But I will say, okay, Rami's right, that there are, you can get multiple lessons from it, but a lot of these multiple lessons, the other ones like, you should, come clean with your misdeeds, like the George Washington and the apple tree type stories, are adages. Like,
or you should stay at home and be a better wife.
Yeah, well, actually,
a good Victorian woman.
Yeah. I think what bothered me more wasn't just like the expectations of the main character, but that whole opening exposition where he's like, women, they don't have class. I'm like, really? Because they're so beautiful. They can just marry up or marry down or marry across. And I'm like, please stop. Like
I think, you know what? I think you just hit the nail on the head. I think I hated the story right after that point. And I've read a lot of old crap that talks about women in a bad way, and it doesn't bother me. I normally don't turn into you. But this story made me put on my Anais pants. This story pissed me off.
Yeah, when he's like, graceful, elegant creatures. I'm like thinking like, this is a ridiculous standard, number one. Like, not every woman is a graceful, elegant creature.
Number 2, even Moll Flanders didn't have it easy, as gorgeous as she was. Like,
Yeah,
no,
like
you can be
yeah.
gorgeous gutter snipe, and you're not going to rise to nobility just because you're pretty enough.
Yes, you can. It's true, but I mean, yes, it's like
That's called prostitution, Remy.
no. People see someone they like. This is another trope. Is the poor peasant girl marrying the prince? How does that happen? It's because he thinks she's beautiful.
Or in the other parable, because she's the only one who didn't put in a fake flower.
Exactly.
Whatever. Point is, it's always on the woman. Be the most beautiful or the
stories they tell poor girls so that they don't have an uprising.
Yeah. But
My
it's
whole
funny
thing
because I read that exposition, I was like, this is so French.
Yes! Annie's. Totally.
My whole thing is, as much as we might disagree with it today, I think to some extent that's really how it was back then. Like, if you were beautiful, you had a higher likelihood. I mean, to some extent,
Well,
it
yeah,
happens
you have
today,
a higher likelihood of success, but you're not going to go from being poor to being
Not even
nobility.
success.
It wasn't done unless you were a courtesan.
Although, okay, it's funny that Remy says that. I think for guys like Guy de Maupassant in that time, things really were like this. But I think if you would have given this to, like, a circle of ladies who read this and discuss it with no men in the room, they'd probably, like, snort a little bit and be like, okay. Like, I feel like this was the fantasy that both genders played into at the time. But that didn't necessarily ring true for women even of that time.
Thank you. I agree with Anais because she's Anais and she's right.
Because she's a woman just like you.
Whatever. I'm usually on your side. You don't get to
We're
pull
doing
that
the
card with me.
We're going to rise against this 19th century author right now on this podcast.
Yeah. We're just going to go and, like, scream at his grave and, like, hold picket signs.
But
I was
he
gonna
probably
time
won't
travel, so big.
understand because he might not speak English.
When you're
Mere
dead, you speak
practicalities.
all the languages.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Oh, man, what else can we say about this story?
Well, I want to get to the speculative part of this real quick. The story behind the story we like to do. So what do you guys think? Over, under. Is the friend going to be like, oh, I feel so bad. Here, have the real diamond necklace back? Or nah, she's going to keep it?
Nah, she's going to keep it.
She's going to keep it?
Yeah,
Yep, she's
sure.
going to keep it.
Yeah.
Notice none of us have any problem saying, yeah, bitch is crazy.
I'll learn you.
And there's our explicit warning, sorry.
Again.
There was so
Wow.
much opportunity for this to be a clean version. I'm sorry.
I like how in the beginning with the language warning, Maya says, we get creative sometimes. There's no we here. It's I, Maya. Get creative every time.
Should we rate this puppy?
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Gerald, you just like get me out of here.
Yeah.
You sounded so put upon the way you said, yeah, please. It just, I
Done
feel
with
for
this
you,
story.
Gerald.
We've
It's
done
okay.
with
I
this
would give you a
story.
glass of sake, but you're all the way
thank
over
you.
there.
Oh, I'll have to buy some so we can have a virtual sake together.
Exactly.
Anyway, we're off topic again.
Who wants to go first?
I'll do
Fine,
it.
I'll go first. Okay, you go.
Okay, go. No, you go.
I'm giving it a 2.
Oh.
I'm giving it a 2 because it was well written. I did not like the story, did not like the characters, didn't like the undercurrent of sexist, like, whatever, but the sentences were nice.
Even the long ones.
I love long sentences. I'm a Virginia Woolf fan. That will not scare me.
Yeah.
Okay, I can go.
Go.
I'm torn. I'm torn. Like, I don't know. 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh.
I'm exactly the same as you, Anais. I've written 3. I've written 4. It's not really a 4.
I feel like if I give it a 4, this is the Kenechi problem, the Kenechi prophecy. If I give it a 4, I'm doing a disservice to things that I've given a 4 to before.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. 3.5.
I don't
for
feel
me
that
too.
way. I'm giving 4. I'm going with 4.
Ooh.
I love the Kenechi prophecy. That is the perfect name for that law. Kenechi's law.
Who's Convenchi?
He was
Kenechi
he was
your
the
friend.
he was the original fourth host.
Oh,
And when we first discussed whether or not to have a rating system, he was the only one who said, no, maybe we shouldn't because then we're going to get all caught up. And like, if we give this one a 6, can we give this one a 6 and blah, blah, blah. We're like, it'll be fine. The prophecy came true.
Yes.
yeah. But I
Maybe we
think it should be case by case. You should just rank each one based on its own merit. It's
That's
not
what I
like,
said,
Yep.
but now I'm 39
That's what we
episodes
do.
deep.
Yeah.
When you get 39 episodes deep, let's talk again.
Maybe we should have a 7.
No, I can't
Gradually
handle trying to make any more of those little Bradberries line up properly on the podcast
Oh
post.
God, yeah. Oh, I feel for you.
Okie dokie. So, what did you end up giving it, Gerald?
3.5.
So both of you did 3.5.
Yeah.
I went 4.
So I guess right now we should talk about what we're going to submit for next week's podcast. I am throwing into the pile A Shower by Hong Sun Won. It is a Korean story written in 1953. It's really famous. It's taught in schools. And yeah.
Okay. I'm submitting I Told You I'd Buy You Anything You Wanted, So You Asked for a Submarine Fleet by Owen Booth. It's the winner of the 2015 short story competition over at The White Review.
You know what? That title is the best flash fiction story I've ever read.
Awesome. And connected to this week's story too. I'm offering Taramazan by David M. Morini from our good friends at Carve magazine. Plug.
Okie dokie. Let's do it.
All right. As I guess before we get to the game, or as a way of introducing the game,
Oh my God.
I'd like to talk about Adele, the singer.
Hello.
I know I'm pretty late to the game with this,
I
but
don't
wow.
know anything about Adele, so I'm later than you.
Oh, no.
Well, hello,
So,
it's her new
okay.
song. That's why I sang.
She released a new single called Hello, and it broke the record for YouTube views in 24 hours. I don't know where it's at right now, but it shot up over 100 million. I really like it, and I just want to say, Gerald, your people have produced a truly powerful voice.
Although she's Welsh, so it's not really my people.
No, but she's born in London. Oh,
Was she? I thought she was
Yeah.
Welsh. Okay.
I don't. Maybe
Thank you.
ancestry. I don't know. But
Oh,
anyway,
whatever. Thank you. Well, I
You're
take a bow for Adele.
So what's the
Yes.
game?
So the game, in her honor, I'd like to make this a game about her. So I'm going to ask you trivia questions about Adele.
Whoa. Okay.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna
Okay.
Struggle.
I know her name.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I've never
multiple
listened to
choice.
any of her music.
It's all right. It's fine. I mean, you don't really need. It's multiple choice.
C.
Who wants to go first?
You have to decide. This is the responsibility of
Oh.
the question.
All right. All right. Let's go with you, Gerald,
Ooh, okay.
since it's your fellow compatriot.
I taught her everything she knows.
God, am I gonna make it through the game in
No,
one piece?
I don't think
Not
so.
sure.
What time is
An
it?
hour later, we've got our story. Come on. Annie's, cut out the white space. Just saying.
Go on,
I'll
Rami.
fill it in with
Ask-
Adele songs.
I'm waiting for you to stop with your snarky comments. Okay.
That doesn't happen, Rami. The snarky comments happen because you're not talking.
You're going to be waiting a long time.
It's just one after the other. I'm waiting for at least a pause or something.
You're sort of being a teacher,
Do you
Rami.
see how purple my face is turning?
Yes.
I'm waiting for silence.
No, actually, I am thinking about it. Anyway, so the first one's easier, I think, if you know anything about it. So what year was Adele born? 1986, 87, or 88?
I'll go down the middle. 87.
88. The same year
Oh.
I was born. We were actually only born 1 month and 2 days apart. Sigh.
Good.
Oh, I didn't mention this. I actually had a crush on Adele ever since she came out with that.
I love this Grammy confessional.
Rami, can
I
you do the
said
quiz
this
every
to-
week?
Of course.
Maya's disappeared. Oh God.
I don't even see her because I'm looking at the questions. Oh wait.
Okay. Good. Oh, there's questions.
Question number 2.
The game is going to be as long as the discussion.
No, we finished the
bet.
discussion pretty quick, so it's gonna balance out. Don't worry.
Good thinking. Yeah, I like that.
All right. Maya, this one's for you.
Okay. Stop! My stomach hurts.
All right. I need to just say this question quickly so I don't laugh. All right. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Here we go.
Podcast.
Thank God my camera's off. Okay. How many sugars does Adele like in her tea?
How many?
Multiple choice.
What are my choices?
One, two, three.
3.
2, sorry. Oh boy. Just 2. She likes 2.
Damn, I knew that too.
Oh, sorry. Alright, Anais, you're up.
Mhm.
Okay, how many times did her album 19 go platinum in the UK? 2, 3, or 4?
4.
Yes. Good job, Anais.
And Anais wins, hooray! Not that I'm trying to short circuit this or anything.
Oh.
See, this is why we can't get through it.
There's a reason why this is happening, Remy.
No, but laughter's
This is
contagious.
not a chicken and an egg
so it's
thing. There is a.
Yeah. It's not the snarky comment.
Okay. Alright, Gerald, back to you.
Oh.
Which famous singer was Adele's classmate at the prestigious Brit School for Performing Arts and Technology? Was it Emily Sandé, or I think that's it, Leona Lewis, or Cheryl Cole, who is now Cheryl Fernandez Versini because she recently got married?
Yeah, that's got no relevance to the question. Number 1. Emily.
Now
Emily-
it's
No, I want.
snarky.
No, it's for like listeners who are like, wait, she changed her name, so I
Oh,
don't
okay.
seem like
Fine,
culture.
yeah. Okay, just.
No,
yeah, it's the first one.
It was Leona Lewis.
Oh.
I knew it.
Oh wow.
Do I steal the point? No.
Please.
All right, Maya.
Not the
Steal them all.
I think this one you might have a chance of again. So at the 54th Grammy Awards, Adele swept the top categories and went 6 for 6 on the night with her album 21. So who did that tie Adele with for the most Grammy wins in a single night by a female artist? Was it Norah Jones, Beyonce, or Alicia Keys?
Alicia Keys?
Nope, Beyonce, Queen Bee.
Well, why would I know that? Just because I'm black? Are you saying all black women know everything about Beyonce?
Hey, I knew
You're
that.
making assumptions.
You were waiting for it, huh, Anais? You're waiting
No,
for it.
because it doesn't have to do with Adele. It has to do with other artists.
Listen,
Wow.
it's always Beyonce.
Of course it is.
Always be- No, Alicia, the other two actually got 5, so they're tied for second. Anyway, Anais, back to you. Alright, so included in her Grammy Awards for 21 were awards for album, album of the year, record of the year, song of the year, and if you take that combined with the Best New Artist Grammy she won in 2009, it makes Adele just the second artist to have won the so-called Big Four awards. So who's the other artist to have won all 4 of these awards? Alright, so was it Paul Simon, Carole King, or Christopher Cross?
Oof. I feel like Paul Simon was a slow burn. But Carole King?
Nope, it was Christopher Cross.
Really?
Okay, but nobody even knows who he is anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
True.
But I mean, that's who it was. I didn't make this up.
Theme from
so.
Arthur, I think.
All right, Gerald.
Yeah. Oh God, there's more.
Well,
can I
it's
ask
like
how
best
many
of
questions?
3.
Oh,
Best
okay.
of 3. This is your
Okay.
third.
Good.
In how many countries did her album 21 reach number 1? 16, 27, or 38?
16.
27.
Oh.
Sorry. All right, Maya. The
That's
last
okay.
question for you.
Mhm.
How many weeks did her album 21 spend at number 1 in the UK? Was it 23, 34, or 45?
The last one. 45.
No, it was 23.
Oh.
Anyway, I think Anais won because she's the only. But I'll just ask you the last question anyway, Anais.
Please do.
Adele describes her performance in 2008 during Saturday Night Live as a career-defining moment for her. Which politician made a special guest appearance on that show? Was it Rudy Giuliani, John McCain, or Sarah Palin?
McCain?
Palin, close.
Really? Why
But
would she
anyway,
do that to get skewered on SNL? I didn't know she did that.
You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
Oh
I remember
my
her being
God.
impersonated by Tina
Yeah, she
Fey.
was
Tina
impersonated
Fey.
by everybody, but she actually went on. It was kind of hysterical.
Why would she do that?
Because she was Sarah Palin.
You know, for listeners who don't know, so like Rami and I go way back, high school way back, and this is like, it's like flashbacks. It's like Laughing Fest to this New
Oh
Year's.
God, I feel old. You guys were in high school during that?
Oh, no.
no,
Okay.
no.
I'm like,
No,
what?
I'm just saying, a few years ago, I think it was like 2012 or 2011, I had a New Year's party that I hosted, and Rabbi was one of the guests, and he was just like, at one point, monologuing with the whole table just dying of laughter. So just want everyone to imagine
Wait,
this.
I don't remember this.
I can
You don't
see
remember?
Mm-mm.
And, well, I'm not going to start like
Party,
naming.
of course, I don't remember doing that though. That was
Yeah.
a nice night.
You know what? I
Anyway.
can totally see it. My
Yeah,
stomach
me
really
too.
hurts. No
Mhm.
more
Yeah.
exercises today.
I got tears coming down my.
Oh.
Wait, so Anais, congratulations, you won.
what
What's
are we
the
reading?
story?
We're reading a short story with a flash fiction name.
Say
Title.
it again.
So it's I told you I'd buy you anything you wanted, so you asked for a submarine fleet by Owen Booth, and it won the 2015 short story competition over at the White Review. Okay, but before you leave, give us a plot twist, dear listener, by leaving a comment at literaryroadhouse.com, and help others find our show by leaving a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or Spreaker, and share your podcast with your friends. Until next time, read a good story.
Do. Stop the